The average age of a financial advisor right now is approaching 60, depending on which research you follow, but 38% of them are expected to retire within the next 10 years. That means there's a good chance that an advisor that you know will no longer be an advisor in 10 years. If you have an advisor that is thinking about retiring and they've been around for 30 plus years, what are you missing out on? I said this at least 100 times, but the funds that your advisor chooses for you is not the value. It's some, but it's not the biggest part of what they're doing now. Your friend is gone and you may not like the new arrangement, okay? So what I would say is if you're gonna go through a change to a new person or firm and it seems sudden, you might as well go pick where you want to go rather than have it picked for you.
Welcome to Dear Rochester. Retire well. Dive in, be curious, become prosperous. David Pulcini CFP, his team, and his guests will help you figure out your 6 points and give you the ultimate roadmap to financial freedom and what to do from there. Now, let's get started.
Welcome back, folks. Today we are going to answer the 3 questions that I'm getting the most right now, and I think that we have some really good ones, and they're going to be important to a lot of you, and that's why I want to answer them. So let's just get right into it. The first question that I'm getting right now is this, or something like this. Dave, my advisor is getting older. What is going to happen to my accounts when he is retired, no longer here, or no longer able to do the job? And I love this, okay? The average age of a financial advisor right now is approaching 60, depending on which research you follow. But 38% of them are expected to retire within the next 10 years. Okay. So according to Cerulli and Associates, that's a firm that does a lot of in-depth research in our industry and a lot of others. There are about 330,000 financial advisors right now, and 110,000-ish of them are going to retire in the next 10 years. That means there's a good chance that an advisor that you know will no longer be an advisor in 10 years. And this is what I'm hearing when someone asks, what do I do when my advisor retires? Here's what I believe. You have a long-term relationship with an advisor who may even be a friend of yours. They've always taken care of you. They manage your money. You trust them completely. You wouldn't know where to begin without them. What is going to happen to my money? That's the question I'm getting, right? Maybe that sounds familiar. Folks, if you have an advisor that is getting close to retirement or getting close to the point where they should be moving on, or they should move on, they should have a succession plan in place, okay? You should literally ask them, what will happen when you're gone? If you're no longer here, who is responsible for my financial plan or my money, okay? I'll tell you what I see, and then I'll give you some options, okay? So first, I usually see this. An advisor has an adult child that is getting into the business, a child of their own, so their children, and they're going to transition the business to that person. That's one thing. Another thing I see is if they work at a large firm, maybe they have a, quote, associate advisor that they work with that may take over. Or they may sell their business within that firm to another advisor. They may sell their business to an advisor or firm outside of their office, okay? In all of these examples, you are going to be meeting with someone new. And the sooner that you can meet with that person or the team, the better. This will make the transition easier and more smooth when that advisor is no longer there, right? The tricky part of this is, for a lot of you, is that your friend is gone and you may not like the new arrangement, okay? So what I would say is if you're going to go through a change to a new person or firm and it seems sudden, you might as well go pick where you want to go rather than have it picked for you, okay? Again, you should trust your advisor and that they will choose the right option for you, but believe me, folks, sometimes they just don't, okay? Sometimes their children are not the best option. Sometimes the advisor is getting a lot more money to sell to a firm that is not a good fit for you. And sometimes staying at the current firm actually hurts you. Yeah, I'll give you an example there just off the top of my head. If you have an advisor that is thinking about retiring and they've been around for 30 plus years, what are you missing out on? I said this at least 100 times, but the funds that your advisor chooses for you is not the value. It's some, but it's not the biggest part of what they're doing now. Are the advisors collecting your tax returns? Are they reviewing with your beneficiaries? Are they making sure that your estate plan is up to date? Are they helping you with Roth conversions, RMD planning? How are they planning for you getting a potential inheritance or planning for your kids to get an inheritance from you? Okay. If they're not doing this, sometimes a new firm is a good thing. Okay. If this is a question that you have, shoot us a message and I'll point you in the right direction. Again, we get this a lot.
We'll be back after this short message.
Hi, this is Dave Pulcini. Sometimes we are asked, what does 6-point mean? And I wanted to explain that right now. 6 points are the 6 points of financial planning. We have investment planning, retirement income, risk management, tax planning, estate planning, and then custom goal planning. Those 6 points include over 120 things that we actually do for folks. So if you are not confident in your 6 points, reach out to us. Back to the show.
Let's move on to the second question here. There is some news out there right now about capital gains rates changing. And a lot of you know what a capital gain is, and a lot of you do not, okay? So I'm going to say this. I asked ChatGPT to explain capital gains to me like I'm a fifth grader. And here's what it came up with. And I quote, imagine you have a lemonade stand that you set up for $10. After selling lots of lemonade over the summer, you decide to sell your lemonade stand to someone else for $15 because it's so popular now. The extra $5 you got from selling it for more than what you paid is what grown-ups call a capital gain. It's like earning extra money because something you owned, like your lemonade stand, went up in value. Okay, end quote. For you guys, this can apply to certain investments, right? The taxes you pay, let's use the lemonade stand, for example, on that $5 depends on your capital gains bracket, okay? For 2024, the capital gains tax rate in the U.S. varies based on how long the asset was held, how long you've had that investment, and your income level. Okay, so how long have you had it? How much money are you making? Long-term capital gains tax rates for 2024. So long-term, that just means you've had it more than a year. That does not apply to one summertime lemonade stand. But if you've had this asset for more than 1 year, it might be a stock, it could be several other things, but you've held it for more than 1 year. The potential rates, I'm not going to go through the whole thing, are 0%, 15%, or 20%. Okay? So if you've held something for more than a year, you're either paying 0, 15, or 20 if there is a gain. Okay? Then there are short-term capital gains. For 2024, this is also for assets held less than 1 year. So you've owned something for less than 1 year. Think of the folks that are day trading or they're buying and selling stocks all the time. Typically, they have to be very careful of short-term capital gains, okay? Those short-term capital gains align with your ordinary income, okay? And those rates range, as we know, from 10% to 37%, depending on your bracket, okay? These rates are designed to be more favorable for long-term investments. Capital gains are more favorable for long-term investments, and we're trying to encourage longer-term investing, okay? And that's what the government has been doing. Here's why I believe this question was asked is because of the new proposal for 2025 from President Biden. And I'm going to quote an article from MSNBC here. And I quote, under his 2025 budget proposal, the top marginal rate on long-term capital gains and qualified dividends would rise to 44.6% for individuals earning more than $1 million. This would be the highest rate in over a century, and when combined with state taxes, could lead to a total tax surpassing 50% in states like California, New Jersey, and New York. End quote. Okay? First thought that people have, I already know what you're thinking. Oh, that doesn't affect me. I don't make $1 million. Folks, if the people with millions, tens of millions, billions take their money out of the market, what do you think will happen? And I'll leave that open-ended. If taxes are higher to keep money invested, people just won't invest. That will affect us all, okay? If the rule passes or if you do not know where you stand with capital gains, this is something that is extremely important to review before next year. Again, should this happen, okay? Make sure you're on top of this. Again, I would make sure I'm on top of it whether the rule passes or not, okay? So I hope that makes sense. What we don't want is capital gains taxes to be higher than ordinary income. That will be a problem. And that, if I'm guessing, that might be the reason it does not pass. And if it does, we just better plan for it, right? There's not much we can do about it.
We'll be back after this short message.
Do you know how much money you need to retire with confidence? Do you know how long your money will last? Are you missing something? Retirement planning is like a puzzle, and we want to make sure that not only do we have all of the pieces, but that the pieces are in the right place. To find out where you stand, go to SixPointFP.com and take our How Much Do You Need to Retire 5-question quiz. We will email you a free video response to let you know what we think. Now, back to the show.
Third question for today is this. I am getting serious about financial planning and I don't know where to begin. How do I do that? So I know the person that asked this very well. This was at a gathering over the weekend at a birthday party, and I'm going to address them directly because it might help you, the folks that are listening. I don't care what age you are, how far behind that you feel, you need to start. And I could give you so many quotes, but the best time to plant a tree was 20 years ago, right? The second best time is right now. Another quote might be, start where you are, use what you have, and do what you can. The secret to getting ahead is getting started. All the things, right? The journey of 1,000 miles begins with one step, whatever it is, million miles. Okay, so you're a parent who is busy. You have accumulated some retirement assets. You haven't paid much attention, and you feel like you just don't want to deal with it. Here's the first step. Find an advisor that can work with you or an advisor that can introduce you to someone who can, okay? And here is what that should look like. You reach out to an advisor, you get it connected somehow, whatever. It should be an introductory meeting. That's it. Intro, see if you like the person, move on to the next meeting if you both like each other and you think it's a good fit. Then the advisor will gather information from you. They'll give you some action items to help you execute on, okay? Then they'll review with you at least once per year. That's it. Obviously, it gets more detailed and it can be more complicated, but the advisor should have a system and a process. If they have this built, you will not have to spend a ton of time getting what you need. If we met with someone, and this is not a commercial for us, but just so you guys know, if we met with someone for literally 15 minutes over Zoom, just to make sure they're a good fit for us and us for them, we would then send them a follow-up email, then have a second meeting for 30 minutes or so, and usually they're not, but I'm just throwing this out there. Here's what we can accomplish, okay? So we've one Zoom meeting, follow-up email, 30-minute second meeting. This is what we could accomplish. Your investments, which is the mix of investments, the pie chart, portfolio, whatever you want to call it, would be updated according to what you need right now and moving forward, okay? You will know how much to save for retirement rather than guessing and into which account. Which account do I save my retirement into? That will be answered. You'll know how much life insurance you need, which type of insurance you need and why. If you have an old policy, old life insurance policy that you bought and you don't know why, or maybe you bought it and your advisor left and you never heard from them again, why do we still have that thing? Maybe we should get rid of it. Maybe we should keep it. Maybe it's the greatest thing ever. We don't know. But we would know based on these meetings. You will have a plan to potentially pay less taxes each year, now and until retirement, while planning for taxes in the future. After these meetings, you'd be introduced to a professional who can help you update your will, healthcare proxy, and other legal documents, and they will coordinate it with your investment accounts, okay? This is because we have a system to make this happen, and it all happens for folks that are busy and can respond on their own time, okay? What we don't want as advisors is to take a ton of somebody's time, make them sit down for hours and hours and hours. I know that most people are not interested in that. I totally get it. I understand. I don't want to do it. We're busy. Kids are all over the place. There's sports, pets, taking care of a house, traveling, everything else that comes up, right? I know advisors that hire advisors themselves. So like picture me having a financial advisor simply to hold me accountable to get this stuff done. It's almost like a coach, right? The next action item is this. The next one is this. The next one is this. And then we are giving gentle nudges to make sure that that is done, okay? It doesn't have to be difficult. So to answer the question, honestly, to make this even easier, shoot me a text, 585-487-0947. This is not to become a client. Guys, again, it's not a commercial for us. This is to help you get started. Our goal here is to help people and get people started on the path to making sure this stuff is taken care of and they're not stressed out about it anymore, okay? So shoot us a text, shoot us an email, give us a call, find us on the website, subscribe to the podcast, YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, all of the things, right? We're here to help you. And even if it's not with us, we're going to point you in the right direction. Okay, folks, make it a great day.
Thank you for listening to the Dear Rochester Retire Well podcast. Click the subscribe button below to be notified when new episodes become available. The information covered and posted represents the views and opinions of the guest and does not necessarily represent the views or opinions of SixPoint Financial Partners. The content has been made available for informational and educational purposes only. The content is not intended to be a substitute for professional investing advice. Always seek the advice of your financial advisor or other qualified financial service provider with any questions you may have regarding your investment planning.